Kathy's. It's time to get this meeting called to order. Welcome guests, thank you for joining us, and we'll give you a few minutes here in a second. I just have to make a couple announcements. First, congratulations to the Adam Raptors on the winning of the Adam C Provincials. That is unbelievable because that is a huge feat to accomplish. So congratulations to them all. Secondly, congratulations to Town of Drumheller on our winning the Alex Metcalf Award as well as the Marketing Award. I'll just put in there a bit that we happened to beat out Brooks on that, so just make that little comment. We just happened to beat out Brooks on that, yeah. Barry's probably sweating about that one. But finally, I, Heather Kohlberg, must declare that the Brooks Bandits are the winning team, the best team over the Drumheller Dragons. And I owe Barry lunch. So are you guys pitching in? But anyways, Barry, if you're watching, there you go. It's all done. Yeah, McDonald's, there we go. A&W, anything fast food, Barry. I don't have time for you. Okay, carry on. Let's get serious here. This is a serious place we're working at. Now I've lost my train of thought. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Just want to give a little update on snow removal, so I'm going to do that under the Director of Infrastructure.
Very good. And now we will call Bonnie Ireland to the front and give us our Campus Alberta presentation.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation to come and address the Council today. It's my pleasure to be here again to help give you some background and information about Campus Alberta Central, which is located just a couple of doors down here from the Council chambers, and I'm sure you've walked by many times, but perhaps today we'll give you a little bit of additional information that you can share with community members. I'm just going to get my instructions here.
And while we're waiting on that, I would just like to as well congratulate the Dragons on an amazing season. It was really fun to watch. I wasn't able to make to every game, but the ones I did make it to was fun, and they really made this last series very interesting. So, all right, we'll carry on, Bonnie. Thanks.
Okay, well, I want to give you a little background information on Campus Alberta Central and how it was formed and the role that it plays in terms of bringing post-secondary education, an organization called the Big Country Educational Consortium, which you may be familiar with. Advanced Education evaluated the system of providing regional education about 10 years ago, and it made a bit of a shift in that it asked each of the colleges to take upon themselves their regional responsibility for delivering post-secondary education. So rather than being a consortia of members, it transitioned to the colleges in the region. This region, Central Region, is very active. We have 2 colleges in our region that work together in a partnership called Campus Alberta Central. So it's actually quite unique because throughout the rest of the province, generally you would see that there would just be a single college working in what we call regional stewardship, which is a mandate from Advanced Education to help to bring post-secondary education out to communities. And so we're quite proud of the history that we have of working together as a partnership. And that extends not just to the partnership between Olds College and Ranger College, but also to the partnership between our organization, Campus Alberta Central, and the Adult Learning Council in each of the communities where we have a presence. So today, accompanying me, I have Tom, who is the chair of the Adult Learning Council and has been for quite a few years in Drumheller. These community adult learning councils are also funded through advanced education for community education, focusing on foundational and literacy education. I also have Linda. Linda Collins has worked with our organization for many years and with the Big Country Educational Consortia before that. So she has 35 years of working in Drumheller to help bring post-secondary education to this community. So our focus is to work with the people in the communities and in partnership with the organizations that are already here. And this is how we're able to deliver programming in a cost-effective and efficient and high-quality way. So as I mentioned, we have a mandate from advanced education. And the three goals that are identified by advanced education are accessibility, affordability, and high quality programs. You'll see there that we have our picture of when we signed our joint agreement between Olds College and Red Deer College. The Minister of Advanced Education was there to sign that agreement. The two presidents of the colleges, both Red Deer College and Olds College, both sit on our governance team board. So it's very high level support for this project and for what we do. What are the outcomes of the work that we've done in our communities in the last years? In terms of accessibility, what have we done there? Last year, 16-17 over 15-16, we had a 75% increase in participation in programs with us. Part of the reason for that is that we spent a good deal of our resources to help transition programming to an online format, which allows people to access that programming from anywhere at any time. This is directed towards reducing barriers in terms of transportation, in terms of being perhaps working part-time, so that anyone can participate who has access to high-speed education, high-speed internet. And so the development of those programs resulted in a significant increase in our participation. But we also realized that we needed to do more advanced planning in terms of what programs we were offering in our community-based programs. So we're now announcing a full year in advance, year and a half advance, what our programs are going to be. This allows people to do upgrading that they need to do. It allows them to get into the application process at an appropriate time and to be ready to participate in some of those high demand programs that can be filled up very, very quickly. In terms of affordability, our students at campus who are taking part either in our online or campus-based programs pay the same tuition as they would if they were going to this program on campus. So all of the costs of relocation when we offer a community-based program in Drumheller, for example, are absorbed through our budget. Transportation for instructors, the equipment that needs to be brought in, and so on. And quality. Our programs are accredited programs through the provincial registry system. What this means is that if you take a program with us, it's in the transfer agreements. It could be transferred then to another college or another program. So our goal, and the goal that advanced education has identified for our work, is to work with our partners in the community-based programs who work with the foundational and the upgrading programs, then to bring in access to college programs, which then can eventually ladder into university programs as well. So the system that advanced education uses for registry of courses allows this kind of laddering through various levels of programming and without losing the work that you've done because you've transferred from, say, a college program into a university program. It's not always. It depends on the college and the university that you're trying to transfer to. But we're very excited to announce that Red Deer College has just been approved to be a degree granting university or polytechnic. So that's still in process how that's going to look, but it's completely possible that we'll also be able to then bring out university programs as well. And again, in terms of quality, the instruction that students received last year, we had a 92% pass rate. And this is from hundreds of students who are participating in our program across our region. So we're very proud of that success rate. The students who have actually exceeded the success rate on campus in some of our regional programs and online programs. So I think that they have attributed that in large part to the support that they receive while they're at our regional campuses and the people who are on staff there who are looking after them. Our approach, as I mentioned earlier, is to work with the partners in the community in order to bring programming to our centers across the region. Campus Alberta Central right now has 3 centers, one located in Drumheller, one in Rocky Mountain House, and one in Stettler. All 3 of those were previous consortia sites, and they have been grandfathered over from that program into Campus Alberta Central with the local facility. However, we have a model that I think we're quite proud of, and that is that in all those locations we've made agreements with the community adult learning councils whereby they are actually operating the center. So we provide a grant to the Drumheller Adult Learning Society. They hire the staff people, they run the facility, and they are responsible for what happens in that facility. We provide them with guidelines that they have to keep within, and in order to make sure that the quality of service is what we expect at a Campus Alberta site, but it is totally locally operated. And as part of that, we have local committees that are also providing oversight for those centers. Program opportunities that we have seen in the last year. We have 22 communities that are partners with us, in addition to the 3 that I mentioned where we have full learning facilities. We also have agreements in 22 communities altogether, whereby they also will support any student who is interested in participating in our online programming. They provide them with information, resources, support, so that they can find their way through the system, which is sometimes quite challenging if you're familiar with the post-secondary system and you've had some friends or some children that have gone through it. It's not always so easy to select your programs, make sure that you have all your prerequisites and so on. So those staff members are there, and they're available to help people to make those kinds of arrangements. In our Drumheller campus, what we've accomplished in the last few years, in 17-18, that's this current year, we ran 2 community-based programs out of our Drumheller site. We ran healthcare aid, which is currently going on. I don't know if they've just gone out for one of their practicums, but they have been working since February in that program at our local campus. And we had heavy equipment operator as well in the fall. We had a total of 28 students participating in those 2 programs, and those were full-time programs. But in addition to that, we have many members of the Drumheller community who are using the facility that we have established with our partnership with the Adult Learning Council. So last year there were 574 course registrations with the Learning Council that took place in the Campus Alberta Central facility. In addition, we had 780 student support services. So that's what I was speaking about earlier, where someone comes in and they say, you know, I've only got grade 10, but I'd like to get into college. Can you tell me about mature student status? Can you tell me what courses I might need to take to qualify? Some of those are people who are currently in programs, and they're using that facility in order to have access to high-speed internet to complete their coursework or to have exams invigilated. And I got to tell you, the people in Drumheller invigilate a lot of exams. They're like our all-time star in that area in terms of numbers. So they're kept very, very busy supporting students who are doing programming in this community. So it truly is, I think, a resource for everyone in the community to be able to access. As I mentioned, we have a oversight committee for Campus Alberta Central, post-secondary committee. It is a committee of the Adult Learning Council. And we have representatives from all of the stakeholders that would like to participate, employers, education providers, and we would like to see some participation as well from the council, the municipalities. This is a model that we're using in all of our communities where we have centers, and it's another opportunity for you to participate in the operation of this center and to bring the needs to us that you see in your community, the programming that you'd like to see happen in future years. We do an annual needs report. This committee is very involved as well in that needs report. Outcomes, increase in educational attainment for your community members. Labor market balance, so we often see that there are particular sectors where there's a high need for employees, and training is needed to get those employees able to take the jobs that are available. Healthcare aid has been one where we've seen enormous growth, where new facilities have been built and they simply are struggling to get enough people to fill the positions that are open. So this program, bringing this training in, means that those positions that are open can be filled by members of your community. And of course, community development. So it makes your community a place where people would want to move to, would want to participate in, and see that there's opportunity for them there. So next steps, and so what do I come asking for? You might say. I would like to ask this council if they can look at our organization, see the value that we're providing to the community and to the members of your communities, and participate with us in the operation of the center, to be part of our committee, and also just to be aware of what we're doing and to spread the word. We've found enormous growth in the last few years because of the awareness that has come about once we've started our work with healthcare aid programming. For example, our first year, I think we only had 5 community members that came forward. Our second year, we had 14. So it becomes cumulative once people start to become aware, more and more people become aware, and then more people can take advantage of those opportunities. So I did bring as well, and perhaps can be passed around, just a sign-up sheet there for our newsletter, and information about upcoming events that if you are interested, if you could give your email, we'll make sure that you get that information. And we usually just do a couple of newsletters a year, so it won't be too onerous on your inbox if you'd like to sign up for that. So by the way, here's a couple of high school girls. Most of the pictures here have been ones that we have taken in Drumheller. So are there any questions or comments from the council today on this presentation?
Questions? Tom?
So I met with Louise the other day, the family literacy coordinator. How does that fit in with Campus Alberta? I'm not 100% clear on that.
Okay, so the literacy program is one of the programs offered through the Adult Learning Council. The Adult Learning Council is funded through Advanced Education, and they provide a grant to community organizations so that they can provide programming at what is considered a foundational level, which is below grade 10. This includes literacy education, English as second language, and some upgrading. I know the Adult Learning Council is currently offering the GED program. So the direction that we've received from Advanced Education is that they are our natural partners in the communities. Because if you come in, maybe you finished grade 9, you're thinking of taking healthcare aid, the people who work at the Adult Learning Council can help you with that GED program, and they can direct you towards the post-secondary program. So that's why we have made partnership agreements, that each of the organizations have signed a formal agreement with us saying that they will work together for the common end of assisting people no matter where they are in their current educational levels to move into the programming that they're looking for. And this could take place through many years, and it could involve taking individual steps, as I mentioned. First a certificate, now maybe a diploma, then a university degree.
Does that answer your question, Tom? Jane?
Thank you, Your Worship. Not so much a question, just more of a comment. One of the things that's happening locally is that Hope College has closed its chapter and is restarting a new chapter as Badlands College. And in the past, there was no way to find room to collaborate, from what I understand. I'd like to know your opinion. I apologize for putting you on the spot about whether or not there are things that this community can do to encourage collaboration, and it's unfortunate that those two things seem impassably siloed at the moment.
Well, I'm not sure that I can really comment on how the provincial government has structured its funding. The provincial government is funding post-secondary education from the public system, and so it provides an opportunity for private organizations to also offer programming, and I guess it's something similar to, you've got a public high school and you've got I think you've got a separate school division, right? So there's separate funding for the private schools as well, because there might be some private schools in this community that are operating as well. I'm not sure, but it's really about how the government is funding our organization so that it's available to the maximum amount of people possible. And that's the way the Alberta government wants to direct regional stewardship as a means of reducing barriers to education, so that people who are living in a smaller community don't have to have a standard of living that is less than what it is in the city. Why should you? You've got a great community here. You should have access to the things that make a good standard of living for your community members. So that's the commitment. A private organization is a private organization, so they have their own goals. And I'm not really familiar with where Hope College is right now.
I wondered if it wasn't their private nature that is a barrier to that collaboration. Yeah. And I don't know, and it is certainly a question that we'll put to them as well, as to whether or not that's something going forward that they are going to continue to
Yeah. And
hang on to.
yeah, and the other piece is on the types of programs that we offer. So as I mentioned, our programs are registered with the provincial registry, which means that they've each been evaluated in terms of the curriculum. So that's the other piece. Is there's not really necessarily a transfer across, but I would certainly encourage them to consider directing anyone who had an interest in any of our programs to us if there's any preparatory work that they might do at another organization that's to their benefit. And of course, if someone came into a CAC center and was interested in one of their programs, we would obviously be giving them the information about how they could access those programs there.
And lastly, Your Worship, I don't think you'd get any argument from my colleagues that because of clever design, I have the lightest portfolio of all council. Until it's reevaluated at the organizational meeting, I would accept an appointment to their board.
Well, I really feel that you can't go wrong supporting education no matter who's providing it. It's a good thing. I think everyone agrees on that. And I think it's allowing people to have the information about what's available to them. That's really the role that our council can play, as far as I'm concerned. So any support in that direction is greatly appreciated.
Christine?
Thank you very much for coming today. I'm just curious. I know you touched on Red Deer College getting university status, or at least having that, the courses. Do you have a timeline, potentially?
Well, I talked to the associate vice president for academics last week, and he said there's so much work ahead of us. They're just starting now and looking at how that's going to evolve, because they do not want to leave their trades training out. So really, I think it's going to be more of a polytechnic organization. But I think it's going to take, my personal feeling, it's going to take a couple of years for them to really get an idea of what they want to focus on. Right now, they have a couple areas where they're transferring into university programs. One is the management and the business diploma that currently transfers at Mount Royal University. The other is education that's currently transferring to U of A. So I would, and this is just my personal thought, is that they'll probably be looking at some of those programs first.
Excellent. And so then we'll be able to potentially have access to that here in Drumheller in a few years, give or take.
Well, I was just mentioning today, we do have some university transfer programs that are currently being launched that we developed, and those are the kinds of ones that will transfer really into any programs as elective in English, sociology, psychology. So they're very general programs that you could use with any degree.
That's great. It gives students straight out of high school an opportunity to stay home for a year, maybe make some money, get those electives done, and before going off into university. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I would just like to quickly say I do appreciate Campus Alberta being there, because a couple of my kids have tried to complete their degrees early, and I love the fact they can do their exams there, so thank you. And I was just curious, we have a task force, which you've probably heard about, and it's come up that we're short on healthcare aides, LPNs, that kind of thing in the Valley. So are you promoting through the schools, like the high schools, to get those students to maybe look into that field? Are you guys working directly with the high schools?
Yeah, so we have an arrangement with the recruiters from both Olds College and Red Deer College. They have all of our materials as well when they go out to the high schools. so they're able to answer the questions regarding programs that can be done in the home community for those students who are looking at graduating. And I've just been meeting with recruiters in terms of some of the courses that you just mentioned, so that they're able to highlight those particular courses when they come out to your community.
All right, perfect. Anybody else? Well, that was a fabulous presentation. Thank you for your time, and appreciate all the information.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and I'm always glad to be in Drumheller. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Of course, come up. Get on the mic there, and no, because we got to have the rest of the community hear you.
I understand. Can we take it from what has transpired that Councillor Garbett will be attending meetings at our monthly DCLS meetings? Cheers. Well, thank you very much indeed, and that'll be great. Cheers. Thanks. That's all I had.
You sure your board's going to want him? Just kidding, Jay. Okay, well, thank you very much. Now we will go on to 8.1. We must go into... Oh, jeez, you guys. Okay, 5.2, snow removal. Armia, you get to go on this one.
Thank you, Your Worship. If my voice is not clear, please ask me. I can raise my voice. I'll give a brief about what we are doing right now with the snow removal, but before I go through what we are currently doing, I would like to give a brief about how was it planned and how has it been done for several years. Basically, we are dividing the town map into zones, and we are prioritizing them based on the emergency routes, school buses, main access. So we have it color coded, green and red, and third category. So three categories. Number one is first priority, and this has to be done first thing once we get a snowfall. If we don't get another snowfall, we go to priority number 2 and priority number 3. And I think we all acknowledge that this year is a kind of unique year regarding the amount of snow we have received and the length of the winter time. So we are trying to deal with the current situation. We have cleared most of the green area, which is priority number 1. And right now, with the temperature going up and snow starts to melt, it's expected to receive some complaints from some people regarding slushy areas or back alleys. We are trying to respond. We totally acknowledge all the claims or complaints we receive, as long as we receive them, because some people think they have filed a complaint and mostly they are calling a different number or not reaching the right department. Even during these scenarios, most of people try to direct them to the right person or to the right department, so we receive the call and act on it. So whenever we receive a complaint, I either follow up with my foreman to make sure that somebody will go there to assess the situation. Most of the times, I personally, if I am available in the office, some people come to my office, I escort them and we go to assess the situation. And I'll be honest with you, not all the complaints we can act on immediately. We have to prioritize. If there is some sort of urgency, or we are dealing with elderly people or people with special needs that they have no access, yes, this is number 1 priority. And this, most of the time, the feedback we are getting, people are thanking and they are appreciating. The most important part that people need to understand our capabilities. We only have 1 crew. We have 4 people. We have 1 grader, we have 1 loader, and 3 trucks. So we are trying to utilize our equipment, our manpower, to be as efficient as possible. And when we respond to some of the complaints, I personally try to explain that we are tied up in a certain spot. We totally acknowledge your complaint. It will be added to our list at the first available time you will be responded to. If I have my crew in Nac Mine and I receive a complaint from East Cooley, it doesn't make sense that I move all my crew and my trucks for one complaint to finish this, and within a couple hours I receive another complaint in Midland. So if I will keep moving my crew all over the place, I will achieve nothing. I have got some instructions and discussion with Daryl that we need to revisit the existing map to see what else we can do to make it more efficient. Also, he mentioned something about utilizing our equipment or the way we are doing it. If there is a better way, learning from different municipalities or different cities to speed up the process, at least to open the roads for them for access, and we can procrastinate the hauling process to a later day or a later week. But again, I just want the residents to understand that we are dealing with a unique situation. Their cooperation is highly appreciated and their patience is highly appreciated. We are doing our best to keep everybody satisfied. Thank you very much.
Questions, Tom?
So the situation that I've gotten into over the last while, I've had a number of people approach me about their roads that are impassable, whatever. And so I've directed them to phone and get their particular street on the list. I've actually had 2 people who basically want me to do it. So they don't want to phone, which is fine, you know, and that's fine. I just want to kind of mention to administration that when I'm phoning, I'm basically just phoning on behalf of these people, and it shouldn't be taken as if, you know, Councillor Zarisky wants priority attention or something like that. And I hope that isn't the case, that when I phone in or when I talk to Libby or, you know, get somebody's name on the list, I don't expect it to be a higher priority. It's simply the person that spoke to me didn't want to phone for whatever reason, and I am doing that. So is that logical and reasonable that, you know, I am phoning, but I'm not counselor. I'm just kind of phoning on behalf of these people, and they should be on the list like everybody else?
I thought they wanted you to go clean the roads. I mean,
Actually, Mr. Zarisky, I really appreciate your comment and your clarification. And what I would like to add that we take all complaints fair and serious. I highly appreciate this clarification. We definitely, once we receive it, I try to reach out, I try to contact the person to clarify that we have received your complaint and we are including it in our list. However, there is some restriction that we cannot just react immediately. So thank you so much for the clarification.
Fred?
I think the crew's done a great job this winter, and I would thank you for how hard the crews have worked. And I'd make a suggestion that we're on a new frontier here, and we're not. I don't think people are complaining as much as they're asking for service. So request for services this point on instead of responding to complaints. That's what I'd like to, you know, look at it that way.
Thank you very much, and I'll definitely pass your nice words and the encouragement to the crew. Thanks.
You're going to get that service-driven beat in before the end of your 4-year term, aren't you? Any other comments? All right. I request a motion to go into camera, please. Christine, seconder Lisa.